BrosTalkEpi.com.
We back up in this thing, ready to get some on that wax.
Another session with the bros talk, where the beer's ice cold. Bros talk. Another session with the bros talk. Come and tell us what you know. Bros talk.
Yo, what up world? What up universe? What up peoples out there and tweeples? It's your boy T-Broski with Bros Talk. I got my main mans in the building with me.
Who's that president that used to do this? You know. Oh, bam. That's what I'm hitting him.
Oh gosh, I don't know what that was, but go ahead and introduce yourself, Clifford. The big red dog. That was a dog. I don't know what that was. If that a growl or
Nah, that was his fucking Futurama voice. Nah, anyway, maybe it's that bad.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Anyways, then I won't say who this is. What's up, y'all?
Corey Les.
Hi, Corey. How you doing?
How you doing, Corey Les?
Okay.
Corey Les.
Definitely wasn't Cory Mo.
Go ahead and introduce yourself, player.
Orlando. Have y'all been keeping up with the Chauvin trial at all? You know, this is the second week of the trial and all that.
Yes, we have all been keeping up with it. So, what is your take from it as of right now? Do you think the defense has a strong case?
No, because the defense is trying to make it more about Mr. Floyd and not about Mr. Chauvin. You know what I'm saying? Prosecutor's case has been all about regulations that Mr. Chauvin has been trained to do and what he was expected to do in that situation, and what he did as opposed to what he was supposed to do. That's been their whole case, and the defense's case has been about Mr. Floyd, I guess, but they're not really presenting their case fully yet either, though. It's still the prosecution, I think, right now.
I mean, like you said, they ain't really said the full defense as far as I know, but I was going to say I feel the same way I did last time. Like, I don't think he should get away with it, but I still worry that it's going to be enough for him to get away with it. But I don't know, because like he said, everything that they're saying is trying to make, almost like give him an excuse. Like, yeah, he did that, but because George Floyd was this, and this, and it's not really his fault because this would have, you know, and it's like, that's not really what this is about, you know.
True.
But, I don't know, I just worry with the court system we have, like, I just worry that's just not going to go the way it should.
So for me, looking at the whole case and trial, at the way the trial's going for me, it only takes one person to fuck the whole prosecutor's case up in this situation. All that defense has to do is make one person think, well, what if, or it could have, and everything's fucked off on prosecution-wise. But when y'all say they haven't opened up the case, well, their defense, there really isn't a defense that to have as for grounds and guidelines that were withheld. That's why they have to go off on a what-if tangent. So what if his pre-existing injuries or his pre-existing conditions had something to do with this, or what if it wasn't asphyxiation that killed him?
But that the what ifs are not on trial.
Right.
What's on trial is, did he murder him or not?
Right, and everybody gets the right to put forward a defense, no matter how ludicrous it may sound.
Yeah,
you
have
the right to put it forward. You know
Yes, and I'm saying if there was a tangible defense, if you have something grounds to stand on, meaning an action behind it, then you put out a scenario, you put out a story, you make people get in that story and understand where that person was in their shoes. These shoes that they're trying to fill is like what we was just saying, is a what if shoe. It's not, well, he was in this situation and he was overpowered by this man and it was only him by himself, so he had no choice but to wait for backup. And it took backup 15 minutes to get there. Within that 15-minute time frame of him holding him down, this is what ensued. This is not the situation. This is a man laying down on the ground, being forced to be laid down on the ground and being laid upon, knee on the neck, and 3 other officers on him. And this guy that's on trial, he has no grounds to say, in my mind, he has no grounds to say, this is the reasoning on why I did that. So for me, that's why I say like that right now, when y'all say they haven't put off their whole case, I think they have. I think their whole case is going to be, if I get this one person to believe or think something otherwise, I'm good.
That's the reason why they talk about what happened before the cops were called. Because they're trying him. And that's what they're trying to do. Let's paint him as a bad guy. That's why witnesses came up. They try to discredit them immediately.
Facts.
They're angry. They made him nervous. Made him want to react a different way.
But even his own chief, his chief that fired him the next day, got up there and testified against him. You know what I'm saying? Told him that he wasn't trained, all of that shit.
But regardless, they can still go back to training because that lady who trained, who's a trainer now, talked about the stuff.
Even like training wise, like when it comes down to training, it makes me think about the body cam. It can be helpful or it can be hurtful. Either way, but that information needs to be told to people. So it brings me to my next question, which is, if body cam footage is a required thing, when is there a correct time, outside of going to the restroom, when is there an okay time to turn your body cam off?
They should be able to turn it off.
And it shouldn't, like, when they're off shift, when they're off duty, that's when that bitch turn off. You know what I'm saying? What you do when you walked out of the locker room and went to your cruiser, you know what I'm saying, all the way to when you brought your cruiser back and walked back into the locker room. That's public information.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
I think, It's not when the shift is over.
Right.
It's when you walk in that locker room, it's automatically call.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean,
let's walk that back a little.
Right. It's not like I'm saying you can't go to the restroom or you can't take a phone call.
Yeah, like,
you know what I'm saying? But
it's certain
I
areas.
said
like,
outside of
duty,
using the restroom.
right.
When you go to patrol, but we don't need to be in their briefings or their meetings. So, but I get what you're saying. Like, as soon as you hit patrol, and as soon as you return, we don't need to be in no meetings, no briefs, or nothing like that. As soon as you
hit the street,
you're on duty.
Right.
So the reason I'm bringing up the body cams is because there was a phone call with Derek Chauvin, this guy.
We want to, it's Chauvin. We want to make sure his name is fucking really cool. So it's, asshole.
Yeah.
Well, right after the situation took place, he receives a phone call from, I guess it's internal affairs. I don't know who these guys are, but he gets a phone call and there was a recording, and he asked him, you only hear one side of it, which is the officer's side, and he's being asked a question as like, hey, what happened down there? And he's explaining to him like, oh, guy just, he wouldn't listen, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, you can tell that the important stuff is about to come out, and he cuts off. That's why I'm asking that. He's actively within an investigation. He's not.
Yeah, but
but that could have been his police union. You know what I'm saying? All types of shit. You know
I don't care. Again, if this is something there, again, this is what the gentleman said. It was a personal phone call, and that phone call was personal, so he's able to turn off his footage and his audio recording via their policy in that particular world. Right. If you taking a personal phone call, you can cut it off. Okay, but right now, who's personally calling you? Is this a personal phone call or is this at work phone call? Because that phone call, if there's information that's being talked about on that phone call that goes along with this active case, then how personal is that phone call? Because you're not his lawyer.
Right.
He works for you, quote unquote, or works under you or whatever.
Immediately after the incident.
But is he Internal Affairs?
I have to look the situation.
Okay,
I have to look the guy. He was put it this way. He is one of the guys that is called if a dispatcher feels like something wrong is going on.
So
and that's the only thing I can come up with.
Okay, so they probably have something that protects them and gives them the ability. That'd be no different than you talking to a police chief or walking to your boss's office. You still have that confidentiality thing. So maybe.
But if you walk in the office and say, "Hey, chief, I killed my wife," there's a confidentiality, and then there's a
They
part
have-
where
but they
they
have to do- but they
You
have to
have
do-
the right to go in there and privately tell him that. Now
Right.
now the obligation falls on them to do the right thing.
Exactly.
it's
But you have an
legally.
obligation.
I'm saying legally, like a psychiatrist, for instance. You can go in there and spill your guts out to a psychiatrist, but once you tell them certain
Something
criminal
they-
activities, they
right.
have no choice
Oh,
but to
and
report
trust
that.
Me, and trust me,
That's
I get exactly what you're saying. I think it shouldn't stop there. I think everybody should face crime for that. Because
Right.
now we're looking at cover up conspiracies and all this stuff, and that's how they get people on RICO charges and all that.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
They're cops.
That's the only things. I mean,
Yeah.
they're held to a different standard.
All right, this
Facts.
is the story, you know what I'm saying? Even though there were 8-9 people standing right there opposite him, and they had a camera, and they all had these little personal movie studios, you know what I'm saying, that they carry along with them. It's a different world, but
Do we all feel that there's going to be a conviction?
what did they charge me? I think
Second
it was only
degree,
second degree murder.
third degree,
third degree, and a
Manslaughter.
That manslaughter, I think, definitely gonna stick. You know what I'm saying? It may be third degree, but I don't know.
I think the manslaughter one is
I mean,
probably
because the
best
second
chance.
degree intent still needs to be implied, right, or something, right?
Yeah, any murder you have to have.
No, that's
No,
not
no,
true.
no,
That's not true. You don't have to have intent with every murder.
Right.
There's-
Sexual
that's-
murder, I thought so.
No. For like first
'Cause you got
degree,
felonious-
first degree, you have to have
Intent. You
know what
gotta.
I'm
I
saying?
mean, I want to kill you. I
Right.
came over
You
here to
personally,
kill
you
you,
know what I'm saying?
and I wanted to kill you, and I did it.
You can get a third degree, you know what I'm saying, because you accidentally killed somebody else in your attempt to do some other shit. You know what
I
I'm
could have been running away from the cops, accidentally hit you
Right,
in
caused
a
an
car
accident, you know what I'm
accident,
saying? Kept
and
going.
Yeah,
You
and then
died,
you
you know
die
what
from
I'm
that.
saying? Right.
That's why it's felonious murder or some other type of third degree murder,
something like that.
manslaughter. Like when you
See, that's
drive
what I
your
thought
car
it
drunk.
usually was classified as is manslaughter.
No.
Drunk driving is
the
can sometimes
intent-
considered
It's
that.
just like the for most things on the law, it's the intent behind the act. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
What they proved in
what
court.
state
what
of
they proved.
mind were you in? You know what I'm saying? What was going on? You know what I'm saying?
And see, that's another thing about the whole thing is there is supposedly some link between him and George Floyd that
I know previously.
they had some type of, or
Right,
this dude had some
yeah.
type of malice towards him
Right.
for whatever reason, and this was his way of
Get back.
get
whatever.
back. I wouldn't say get back. What I don't know. Fuck it. That's what they're saying. So that's what is being told. I don't know. That hasn't been brought up in court,
Right.
but maybe that's
No,
hearsay. So maybe
Right.
that's why they don't bring it up because it all goes off of
Did you
well,
hear-
it could have been.
Did you see the clerk that testified? The one that found that realized the 20 was fake or whatever, and was trying to tell him, like, he said that he didn't even think Mr. Floyd knew that the 20 was fake. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was really kind of upset that he kind of started the whole situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, which I could totally get. You know what I'm saying? What you thought would just be a 5-minute interaction with somebody was like, oh no, we can't take this. You know what I'm saying? Resulted in the death of somebody, and now a year later you're testifying in the trial, you know what I'm saying, of this 5-minute
But the thing
interaction.
is,
To clarify, he was charged with. He has 3 charges: second degree unintentional murder, third degree murder, and second degree manslaughter. Unintentional? That lets me. For me, that immediately sets the tone for what's going on in this situation.
And that's the
No, but
latest.
that's all on what they can prove, you know what I'm saying, because
I know that's what the
Right.
prosecutor wants to go for because that's what they can prove. I dig that. But we all watched that video. Just
my
go
man
grab.
looked pretty comfortable. He had both hands in his pockets, right?
There's
Shades
another
on.
group of people saying that him
Shades
having
on,
his
yeah.
hands in his pocket is him pushing down on his thigh, putting extra pressure. But again, that's hearsay, so that type of shit can't be brought up in a court of law. You know what I'm saying? Only thing they can bring up is things that's gonna stick and stand out for it.
Well, that's why they went with the unintentional charge on the second degree and not just straight up second degree.
Something to make stick.
Right.
And that's what they want, something to stick. And that
Right.
again, that all makes sense. It just sucks that we're in a day and age right now where we all watch what we seen on video, and there's a group of people that still feel like he was justified or his actions did not lead to this man's death. Like, although anybody else, 2 civilians, and we had that on footage, there wouldn't be a question asked about it. It would be, why did you do that? You had plenty of opportunity to get up and get away from him. You could have ran. You could have did this. why didn't you do this? So like that's where for me it would be looked at as murder on my end. He's police officer.
Supposedly trained to handle himself in those type of situations. Correct.
Correct.
That's what bothers me the most is that I'm supposed to contain my emotions and shit better than these trained professionals. You know what I'm saying? So that I can make sure I make it out of them. Like that shit is fucked up to me.
All this proves is videos mean nothing. You know, when it comes to them. So if we talk about body cams, does it really matter? Who actually, like we've seen plenty of times, the videos of people getting, you know, done wrong.
Right.
And still, body cams don't matter. Like literally, we see body cams of people going crazy on cops, and then they're able to do them. Like so, the camera shit really don't. It's a facade. It's
right.
Well, that
and we got them to
it's a placebo.
Well, that shit again. It only works in certain people's advantages if you know what I'm saying.
The ability
like,
for the officer to turn it off and on whenever they feel like
the footage.
Right.
To me, if you lose the footage or don't have the footage,
that should be the case.
Immediately, whatever that person said goes.
Right.
If that person said you, he stuck a
this and this and this.
Maybe obstructing justice charges.
Okay, the only reason I'm coming that extreme is to make
evidence. Like but some charges be brought to you.
Right.
I get what you're saying.
I want to go extreme because there's certain. Okay, you prime example. You run in from the cops and they dog jump on you and you kick the dog in the face and under the house and you end up killing the dog. That's murder.
Right.
That's murder. That's not. That's of a police officer. That's murder.
Yeah.
That ain't a human being, and let's not classify them as such. Even though, regardless of how much you feel like it, you have to classify them as such in that scenario. Right. To me, is that an extension of a police officer? It may be, but just the same way, if I blow up your police car, that's the destruction of police property. Hit him with a charge like that. Why does it have to be murder? So if that cop is able to, quote unquote, find himself in a situation where he's fighting with me or whatever, trying to subdue me, and his actions leads to my death, why isn't that considered murder? Why is it all this, we got to go for the second degree unintentional and this? Why isn't it the same exact way? It is a double standard. And that footage, that film is only going to work for whoever they want it to work for. That's fucked up. So that brings me to my next point, which is the lawyers, the defense lawyers. Do you look at these dudes in a different light? Say, for instance, you work with them or you know them personally. Defending this dude, do you feel like that is a taint on their personal character, or is it just a job?
It depends on what they can. It depends on.
Definitely a job.
Yeah, it's definitely a job. You know what I'm saying? It depends on what they can get done for their client. You know what I'm saying? Because that's really all they're gonna brag about is, well, they tried to do this, and this, but I got them to do this, and this. You know what I'm saying? Like
I understand the job. I'm saying as a person, morally, there's no.
Half of these lawyers make their name off of these big cases defending people like.
I understand their name. Know. Their name is their name. I understand the tactic. You have to do this in order to advance to the top. Because you do two cases like that. You defend George Zimmerman, get him off. You defend whoever else and get him off. You get these two cases up under your belt. There's gonna be people that want to work out under you. Now you just got your own law firm. Exactly. I get that. I'm saying as a person, is there morals? Is there characteristics for taking that case, regardless of?
It's business.
It's business. That's
no different than being a business and not one involve close people.
Right.
It's business.
Exactly.
You can't look at it as, you can't judge me at my job like that on the outside. This is going to be good for my career. I might take shitty cases, but literally take all that money and invest back in my community.
Exactly.
But this is just
and those might be only one or two cases that they have of the year. The whole rest of their caseload that you never hear about might be a bunch of shit where they're giving back to the community, doing a bunch of pro bono shit that you never hear about. But they take this one shitty case that funds their firm for the whole year. You know what I'm saying? And now all of a sudden you looking
And
at
it's a
it
business move
right.
instead of moral move.
Right.
And when it comes to business, it ain't no morals.
Right. You gotta get that capital if you trying to get.
Like literally, they be
Somebody
like,
looked at me
Money
funny,
rules
but
the
I was
world.
somebody
So if
looked
y'all
at me funny,
lawyer-
but I said that's all capitalism is you trying to figure out how much you're gonna let somebody. What did I say? Exploit
Amazon.
you. No, exploit
and
you.
Amazon's pissing
Right.
in.
Amazon is exploiting the fuck out of people globally. Globally, they are just exploiting the fuck out of people. And every day, people just throwing money at them because they too lazy to.
I bought some shit off of them.
Exactly.
I spent like
Exactly.
$1,200 the other day.
We
man.
just cop an Amazon bag.
Yeah, man.
Right.
Guess when we get the next mic.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? That convenience. That's
Me and my
exactly.
girl
Yeah.
both have Prime accounts. That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
Right.
Double
in the same
down on
house.
it.
In the same house.
Double
Just for
down.
private accounts, Right.
This is because I bought Christmas present. I forgot to cancel it.
It's all good. Double down on it. I got mine for free, so it's all good. I'm gonna utilize that motherfucker. Yeah, man. So the Amazon workers, I don't even want to dig into that one, man. Right
Hey, but
now.
Amazon did come out and say that workers are pissing in bottles. Y'all was trying to give me shit.
Before we get up out of here, y'all got anything, man?
Man, like you say, support free.
Yeah, you be safe out in these streets.
Be safe out in these streets.
Yeah, man. Be easy. Appreciate y'all having us.
King DanO.
My bad, I'm gonna go. I went out. I came in. Never vibes.
I'm not a crook.
T-Broski with Bros Talk. I'm about this. Biatch.
Apologize.
Another session with the bros talk, where the beer's ice cold. Bros talk, another session